Hello everybody! Mark from GamebustersUK with episode 6 of John Belmont, the Dragon Priest Hunter. Today, I'm actually not using John Belmont because, as I mentioned in the previous, in episode 4, I mentioned that I lost my save files. But since then I've regained them, and I've finished recording for all the other parts. So you know, you'll see them in due time. But what I'm getting at here is, actually, this is before I lost all my characters. As you'll see, that's not John Belmont. This is my former wizard save file where I was playing as a wizard. The reason I had to switch characters for this episode alone was simply because, in order to get to Morokei, which is the Dragon Priest we're hunting in today's episode, you have to be right at the end of the College of Winterhold quest line, and that's the quest line for mages. That's the mages college. And as the character John Belmont I was using was a sort of warrior, Templar type character, I did not really want to join the College of Winterhold and go through all the quests, you know, that are designed for mages with that character. So I just didn't want to do that. So I had a mage character who was up to this part already, and I just thought, well, you know, I'll do it with him. So yes, going to be using magic through this episode, but the premise is still the same. We're still going to be killing Morokei at the end of the video. So also this character was maxed out. The conjuration, destruction. So when you come to Labyrinthian, which is where you need to go to find Morokei, you have to be at the end of the College of Winterhold quest line. And once you've got up to this part, you will receive the torc of Labryinthian, which will open the door to this section of Labyrinthian. Because Labyrinthian is one of the largest dungeons in the game, and there are multiple dungeons within Labyrinthian. And this one you cannot access until you get the torc through the College of Winterhold. This is a pretty cool battle. It's a battle against a skeletal dragon. Basically, all I did there was just summon 2 Dremora lords and just let them duke it out with the dragon. The dragons. Not really going to be too much of a problem for Dremora lords. The dragon has a load of skeletons with him, which skeletons do not really pose much of a threat in Skyrim, but the sort of magic casting variant of skeleton it can be a problem. It can be a bit of a problem. Like this one, something like frost atronarchs, which was a little bit annoying. The thing about being a mage is you have to really get distance between you and your enemies. Which I don't usually play as a mage. I usually play as a warrior because I just love to get up close and personal and pummel people with weapons. I'd say the skeletal dragon is a lot easier than a regular dragon, although it can still cause you problems. I mean, it can breathe fire, frost. I think it breathes frost, I'm not too sure. You get 5 dragon bones, which is quite nice if you're trying to make a set of dragon bone armor. Dragon plate armor, I should say. Yeah, so Labyrinthian this is quite a lengthy dungeon crawl. As with the OTAR video, there isn't really too many puzzles in this dungeon. You just sort of like you just progress, you know, progress further into the dungeon, really, taking out enemies as you go. And that voice was actually the voice of Morokei, the dragon priest himself. The reason you can hear him speak is because when you do the College of Winterhold, and when you get up to this quest, you'll see ghosts, and you may have seen them at the beginning of the videos, just random ghosts standing around talking to each other. They are the ghosts of the past. A group of people who explored this ruin and released Morokei, and they couldn't quite defeat him, and only one made it out there alive. And the person who made it out there alive just happened to be the Archmage of the College of Winterhold. And so when you come back, and spoiler alert, mute if you don't want to hear this, the Archmage is he is killed during the College of Winterhold quests, and he gives you the talk of Labyrinthian to come back into this place. But when you're exploring the place and you hear Morokei's voice, which by the way, it drains you of all your magicka whenever you hear Morokei's voice. It's sort of a strange effect it has. So don't, if you're a spellcaster, just be aware of that. So the voice is calling out to you because Morokei thinks that you're the Archmage who's come back to sort of finish him off, as it were. But of course you're not. This is generally what I do when I create a wizard character. I try and learn conjuration magic so I can just summon minions to tear apart my opponents and just stand back and watch casually from a distance. It is what I do. I remember when I played Oblivion. The first skill I ever got to 100 was my conjuration. That wasn't even one of my primary skills, so yeah, I do like conjuration magic. You know, I don't really play, like I said, I don't really play as.
Must I use this guttural language of yours?
Yeah, he does speak out quite a lot, so just be aware of the drain on your magicka. Yeah, so like I said, I don't really use mages too much. Like, I just prefer to, you know, be a melee-based warrior. As with a lot of dungeons in this game, a lot of Draugr dungeons, this dungeon does contain a lot of high-level Draugr. You will encounter a lot of death wards, so you know, bear in mind that if you're gonna come here, it's a lengthy dragon crawl. It's a lengthy dungeon crawl, and there is a lot of Draugr death wards, high level Draugr, cause you a lot of HP problems. So just be aware of that and make sure that you're either a pretty decent healing spell, or you have a lot of potions on hand, or both. Icicle there. It's not called Icicle, it's called Ice Spike, I think. It's a pretty good spell. I like the spells in Skyrim. They're a big improvement on the spells in the last couple of games, last couple of Elder Scrolls games. They really did, you know, pay a lot of attention to the spell casting, and they're really good. They're really good. Just a little precautionary save, because you know it was a large dungeon, and Ooh, yeah. 30th of April I did that. It's now the 4th of June. Well, me recording this commentary is the 4th of June.
Old friend.
Ah yes, I did say I would try and make the other episodes live commentary, but unfortunately that just wasn't possible, so they will be post commentary, which I have no problem with. I'm equally at home doing live commentary or post commentary. I don't really have a preference, although I do try and do live commentary whenever I can. Skeletons are really pathetic. They only have like 20 or 20 HP, I think. You can sort of just brush them aside pretty easily. But what I was saying about earlier, the spellcasting skeletons, the ones that wear the hood, like that one there. If they summon creatures to attack you, they can be a bit of a problem. Especially in a tight space like that. You see, summoned a frost atronarch. Just didn't really want to get too close to it because, you know, as a mage character, I tend not to wear any armor. I tend to wear magic robes and stuff. There we go. It is a pretty well designed dungeon, this. This is a troll's lair. There is a troll.
I feel the eyes of angry spirits upon us. We are not welcome here.
This area was actually used as the background in Machinima's NPC fights, Skyrim NPC fights. A lot of videos of that on the internet. Stuff, funny stuff. Of course, you can only do it if you have the PC version of the game. Spawning NPCs, so it's quite fun. I did have Oblivion on PC. Oh well, I do have Oblivion on PC, and it is quite fun to just spawn a random NPCs all over the place, just watch them fight. But yeah, I have Skyrim on my PS3 because I could run Oblivion with no problems, but Skyrim, you know, its graphics and everything, I just think it would be overkill on my computer, so best to get it on PS3. I have Oblivion on PS3 as well. It was actually, I first got it on PS3, then got it on PC later. I'm not a PC gamer, I am a console gamer. Yeah, as you just heard, Morokei now knows that we are not the Archmage, and he's sort of like thinking, why are we here? That follower, the follower with me is not Vorstag, you've probably noticed. It's Janasa, and she is a mercenary. She uses light armor. She wears light armor, and she dual wields weapons whenever she can, and she is pretty good with a bow as well. And she is available in Whiterun for 500 gold. She's in the Drunken Huntsman pub. I think it's a pub. Yeah, it's in Whiterun. So she's quite useful. Just decided to bring her along as backup. Yes, this part can be very difficult. This is the Wisp Mother. And Wisp Mothers, they're one of the most difficult enemies in the game, in my opinion, because they have very strong magic, and they just sort of they create a gap between you and them. So if you're a melee character fighting the Wisp Mother, it's quite a difficult task, because she'll pelt you with high-level ice magic, which slows you down as well as, you know, causing damage to your health. So I really do hate fighting Wisp Mothers as a warrior. But once you're a high level, and I mean a high level, I'm talking level 50 sort of plus.
Did he warn you that your own power would be your undoing? That it would only serve to strengthen me?
Yeah, so once you're level 50, sort of, well, or even level 40 plus, you should be able to take out the Wisp Mother without too much difficulty. But I remember it's very hard. You're not up to the challenge. You know, very hard opponents. I mean, there's nothing worse than you know, trekking around in the wilderness, especially in the winterhold, and bumping into a Wisp Mother, because I did that before, and I just had to keep loading the save files because she kept killing me. I like the favorite system in Skyrim. I think it's very good, and it's a lot better than the hotkey system, Oblivion Head. Because you could only hotkey about 8 or 9 items, or thereabouts. Whereas with the favorite system, you can favorite, I'm not sure what the limit is, but you can favorite quite a lot of items, and spells and stuff, so it is very good. It's a very good system. Because that's always the problem with console ports of, you know, popular PC RPGs, is that on the PC you can have multiple hotkeys, and on the console versions, you know, you don't have as many, you know, keys. Your buttons are you know, either used for something else, or so you never seem to have as many hotkeys, which is probably one of my biggest beefs with Dragon Age Origins, and to a lesser extent Dragon Age 2, is that you can only hotkey 6 skills or abilities, whereas on the PC you can hotkey a lot more. But anyway, well, that's Dragon Age. I'll moan about that in my Dragon Age playthrough. This is Skyrim. These spectral sort of beings are just basically ghost versions of Drow. Ghosts are not as unique as they were in Oblivion, as they are in Skyrim. To be honest, I'm a little bit disappointed with Skyrim's ghosts, because they are literally just, they retain the stats of whatever they are, and it's purely an aesthetic change. So I'm a little bit disappointed with ghosts in Skyrim. Yeah, I would say that, because in Oblivion, ghosts and wraiths, they couldn't be harmed by normal weapons. You could only harm them with enchanted weapons, silver weapons, or Daedric weapons. And I really liked that, because it was sort of, it was true to the sort of, I don't know, legend, or what we know about ghosts kind of thing. You know, they can't be affected by worldly materials or whatever, but I really liked that. You know, it made them, you know, kind of unique in a way. And so, you know, when I come across ghosts in Skyrim, they can be beaten with any weapon, and they're not really that difficult to to defeat. So, yeah, but it's a minor. Can't really say I'm massively disappointed. Can't really say I'm gonna cry and, you know, trade in my copy of the game just because of that. Funnily enough, you can pick up their weapons. These spectral Draugr, you can pick up their weapons. I think they're called Drain Heart weapons, and they're basically ghostly sort of blades and axes that drain HP or stamina off the opponent. There is a blade you can pick up in the game called Ghost Blade, which is basically the same sort of weapon as what these Draugr are using. And it has an enchantment which allows it to ignore 3 points of armor. It's cool that the sword can ignore armor value. So no matter what armor your opponent is wearing, whether it be iron armor or Daedric armor, you can ignore 3 points of the opponent's armor rating. But 3 points really isn't a lot, and it would have been a lot better if there was a unique weapon in the game. A unique weapon in the game that could ignore all your opponent's armor rating. I think they should. I think Bethesda, if they are watching, keep that in mind for DLC. That would be a really good weapon to have, so you could just fight anyone, any heavily armored foes, and just ignore all their armor rating. I think that's a really good idea, and perhaps even a spell. A spell version where you hit the opponent with a spell and their armor rating goes down. There was the corrode weapon spell in Oblivion, and I think that was really good. I don't know why they didn't carry. Well, I do know why they didn't carry that on into Skyrim, but they could have done a corrode armor, a temporary drain of the opponent's armor rating, which would have been. It would have been handy for mages, Maybe I'm just blabbering on. Anyway, I hate these traps. These are soul gem traps, and basically they're a little soul gem, usually a lesser soul gem, just sitting on a little pedestal. And if you get too close, it fires magic at you, and some of the damage that these things can do is pretty catastrophic. As you can see, I almost died just then, by getting hit by the fire. It was chugging out. The only way you can get them, there are 3 ways that you can work around these traps. Shoot the soul gem off its pedestal with a bow, like I'm trying to do there, but I don't think I have any luck doing that. You can also use unrelenting force and shout it off its pedestal. She got in the way of that. You can also magic it off if you've got a spell like Ice Spike. You can hit it and magic it. Or you can do the risky ways, just run straight up to it while you've got a little bit of time space and just pick it up off the pedestal. But you're about 50% likely to get hit by the spell if you do. I was a bit pinned down by this one. So I did a spell ward, and it reflected it back at the soul gem, and it stopped it that way. That's actually quite a smart way of doing that, because often when you come across them, you forget. You forget. How useful the spell ward can be in this game. It is an incredibly useful spell in this game, and it can even stop opponents' weapons getting through. If you're strong enough, it can actually stop lower level enemies from actually attacking you with spell ward. But it does cost quite a lot of magic. You're gonna have to take perks if you continually use spell wards. I mean, purely because of having to get this far in the Mage's quest line, which is a lot of hours of gameplay actually, 5+ I would say, if you aim to do it in one gaming session, which I wouldn't really recommend. Purely because of that, Morokei is what I would class as one of the harder dragon priests, just because you have to go through a lot to reach him. You know, with some of the others, like Otar, for example, in the last episode, you can just waltz into his dungeon if you know where to locate his dungeon. You know, you can just waltz into it and you know, fight him. You know, whenever you want. But with Morokei and Nakrin, you have to. Well, with Morokei, you have to be, you know, right at the end of the Mage's quest line, and with Nakrin you have to be right at the end of the main quest, the main storyline. So those two are probably, if you are going to, you know, hunt the dragon priests, you would probably want to do those two last. Or, you know, if you want to, you know, take it easy, you could do those two first, complete the Mage's quest line and the main storyline first, and then just take out the others, you know, sort of, you know, take it easy from there. And you can do it however you want, really. Nice word wall for your troubles, sorry. You know, it is a large dungeon, so, you know, you've got to expect a little bit of a reward for you know, trudging through it all. Let's see what shout it is. I think it's, I don't know what it is. Let's see. Slow time. Slow time is one of those shouts that looks good on paper. You know, it looks good on paper. Oh, I can slow time down. But I never really use it. I'm sure it is good, but I never use it. The top shouts that I use are Unrelenting Force, Frost Breath or Fire Breath, and Marked for Death. And unless I have all 3 words per shout, I never use it, because there's just no point. I do like Stormcall as well, but I only ever use that if there's no one in the vicinity, no one friendly in the vicinity, because one of the biggest mistakes you can ever do in Skyrim is use Stormcall in the middle of a city or a village, because you will kill everybody in the village. Because Stormcall is just one of the most overpowered shouts in the game. Well, it is, especially if you've got all 3 words. You could probably kill half the population in the game. Alright, now this is where Morokei is. As you can see, there are 2 ghostly wizards who are charging a magical shield around Morokei, and that is Morokei in a little bubble that you can just see on the right hand side of the screen. And unless you take out those ghostly wizards first, you will not be able to harm Morokei, but he will be able to harm you, and he can harm you a lot. So your first objective will probably be to take out these wizard guys. Alright, so take them out, because you don't want a foe who's got a magical bubble. See, nothing can hurt him. Take care of those fools, those idiots, morons. And now it's a showdown with Morokei, me old mucker. 6th dragon priest. He is a difficult one. Yeah, he's a bit of a problem. Primarily uses shock magic, which drains your magic as well as causing HP damage. And because you're more likely to be a mage doing this particular part of the game, that can be damning. And as you can see, he has spell ward, so unless your archery skill is very high, some of your arrows may not even, you know, actually hurt you. He can summon storm atronarchs as well, which is a problem. But there we go, he's dead. I made that look a bit too easy. But he is very hard. If I was on my own there, the battle would have lasted, you know, twice as long. But there we go, Morokei. He can be a problem, although I have heard that there is a bug where if Morokei runs out of magicka from continuously casting spells at you, he will just stand there and not do anything, which is quite odd. I've had that happen to me before, not with Morokei, but with Volsung. If they run out of magicka, the dragon priests just stand there like idiots, and you can just, you know, tear them apart. Anyway, his mask, it does 100% magicka regeneration. So basically, if you wear